Islam, fam, y'all there?
Islam, Islam, Islam.
Islam, peace and love. Man, you there?
I'm here, and we are.
I need Eve. Where you at? Where you at? I need Eve. You can't hear
Where
me.
are you? It's where are you? That way you at.
Oh, all right, pardon me.
She must be having some
where
problem.
Where are you?
Yeah, she must be having some technical problem. So,
all right.
She just unmuted me, so I know that she wants to play an audio today of the Pope speaking, and I think she had an intro for that. Let me see if she's
good.
on getting that together, because she wanted to actually play it. I wondered if something happened in there so that people could actually hear it, because a lot of people
Islam, can you hear me?
Now we can hear you.
All right.
You trying to play?
I don't know. I was looking at my phone, and the mute light was not lit up. So I'm like, I'm talking, and then I hear Ms. like Islam. I was like, wait a minute, it's not muted. What's going on?
Oh, I'll tell you what's going on. Mercury's in retrograde, so these things can be expected sometimes.
Well, you know what? Mercury has been in retrograde. I mean, it's like all the time.
Yeah, I know. Well, you know what that means? Listen, that's because the universe is beckoning us to get our communication straight. That's how I see it.
Wow.
Right. Can you? Oh, my fault. No, my fault. It was just so much on that subject.
Cujo, are you
I was
there?
about to say, hold on, we got Cujo. Like, what's going on? Like, all right, we here.
Cujo,
like,
are you there?
All right. Yeah.
Sorry,
enjoying the festivities.
Right.
Oh my goodness. It's just like, today, every show, every broadcast is a great broadcast, but I think today's broadcast is just really, really, really hot because of, a lot of things that has happened, it has happened, is happening, is about to go down.
Quickly happening.
It's in the air. It's like, okay, now, and we're going to talk some more about, I think possibly tomorrow in class, we're going to talk how many people was observed or paid attention to the lunar eclipse.
Yeah.
That
big thanks to you.
Yes. It's so funny because I was leaving work, and I remember the day before, the sky was so bright because the moon was full, and I was like, wow, the moon. I love it when the moon is full. I don't know what it's about. I just love it when the moon is full. So the next day, I came outside, and there was just a sliver of moon. And I was like, what in the world is going on? What happened to the moon? So I was going to take some trash out, and there was a bunch of Europeans standing outside looking up. And and they turned to me, and they said, at the lunar eclipse. And I was like, that's right. It's supposed to happen tonight. So, of course, I go running back to my car or my conveyance to grab my phone. I'm so excited, okay? I run back to my conveyance to get my phone to call Roz. I'm in the car looking around because I'm so excited, only to realize that I had my phone in my pocket. I pulled it out and I called Roz, and I was like, you guys, go to the window, look at the lunar eclipse. It's the first time I'm ever seeing it. So it was so amazing to see this shadow slowly cover the moon, and then the moon turned this bright red color and just stay there for I think it must have been like maybe a half an hour or something. It just stood there. It just stayed there. And then, you know, after I was able to finally get home. I didn't get in the house. I texted everybody I could, get outside and look at the lunar eclipse. You know, so I'm standing outside and I'm watching, and I'm just standing there just because it's just amazing. And it's like, and I was outside. And so it was like this whole energy just came over everything. And it was like this great excitement. And ever since then, I have just been feeling this great excitement, like something really great is about to happen. Or, you know, so, and that's the feeling that I have had ever since this lunar eclipse took place. And then, you know, and then I started getting all these calls from people about, oh, my goodness, now everybody knows the Pope was in town, but I didn't want to hear nothing he had to say. And it's a good thing other people didn't feel the way I did, because I kept getting these calls. You know, the Pope said this, the Pope did that, and the Pope went and talked to Congress, and he, whatever he said in a meeting. Look, let me just finish the introduction of the show, and then we'll get into that. And we'll also move into a portion. Yes, we'll listen to. I know. What'd you say? What'd you say? What did you say?
No, I said, the info. Yeah, I'm here.
I know. He said, the intro. He said, the intro to the show, you know, because we usually greet everybody. We do our weekly public service announcement, but, you know, it's the excitement, you know. So I said, let me back up. Let me do what we always do every Tuesday, and then we'll jump in to this broadcast, because, you know, I'm telling you, I'm thinking that I am not the only one feeling this excitement. I'm hoping I'm not the only one feeling this excitement, because it is a very nice feeling to have and to be able to maintain. So let me get back to welcoming all of our listeners. The chat room is open to all our family over in South Africa, Great Britain, Japan, the Netherlands, Brazil, Mexico, Cuba. Thank you so much for listening, to lending us your energy, joining in where you can as we together uplift fallen humanity. Thank you so much for joining us. To our callers, Big Islam to you. Every week you call in. Every week you fill up the lines before the show even starts. Thank you so much for that. And, of course, every week we have such wonderful discussions that we a lot of times run out of our 3 hours of broadcast, but it's so informative and it's great and it's uplifting, and most of all, it is uniting. And that is what this is all about, the uniting of Asia, which is the uniting of our family. Thank you for calling in every week and allowing us and joining us to bring that energy about. Let's see. Every week we have a public service announcement or a public announcement where we make an announcement of all the Moors that have been kidnapped and are being held hostage for income by these county corporations that are disguised as government when they are not. They're gangsters. They're what do you call them? Racketeers. They're extortionists. they're money launderers. Look these words up in your Black's Law 4th edition dictionary, and you will find out exactly who these people really are. And don't forget highwaymen, very, very pirate. These are words that you need to look up because it will give you a clear comprehension of exactly who you are dealing with. And it will assist you or help you in dealing with them as you go forward, of course, after you study Islam. So we have our first announcement, or our first family member that has been kidnapped and is still being held hostage. We have Abkare Bey, kidnapped by through a joint venture between Shelby and Memphis Corporation under the purview of Tennessee. We have Daoud Il under the purview of Arkansas. Amir Muslimin Il Kusu Ra Kush Bey under the purview of Missouri. Asar Patah Amin Ra Bey under the purview of Ohio. Jeremy Paler Il, Terry Thorne Bey, J. Mikhail Brooks Bey, Joseph Kennedy Il, Kush Amir Bunch Il, Emmanuel Billings Bey, Yasin Khalik Alamin Il, and Michael Curry, all kidnapped under the purview of North Carolina. We have Noble Crisco Il under the purview of New Jersey, and Messiah Aziz Il and Crystal Il, kidnapped through a joint venture between Mercer, Freehold, and Trenton Corporation under the purview of New Jersey. Eldridge Terran Fisher Il, Martis Sevion Il under the purview of Indiana. Solomon Il Bey and Mumi Abu Bey under the purview of Texas. William Barrett Il under the purview of Virginia. Che Ray Bey under the purview of West Virginia. Thomas Lee Bey under the purview of California. Victor Eduardo Valle Juarez Il, kidnapped by Harlem Corporation under the purview of Georgia. Patricia Bey and her infant baby, both kidnapped by Atlantic Corporation under the purview of New Jersey. And I had one more, but Malik Ilbay, also kidnapped by Atlantic Corporation under the purview of New Jersey. Those are our Moors that have been kidnapped and are being held under a demand for income. If you have any family members, other Moors that you know who you would like to add to this list as we make this weekly public announcement, please send an email to MHHS-Eyes Wide Open @gmail.com. And in the subject line, just put add to the weekly public and service announcement. All righty. Okay. So all right, let's see. I believe that is it. Let's get into our subject matter. This is so amazing. The title of this particular broadcast, once again, is I'm going to make the Europeans tell the truth. This is a quote from Prophet Noble Jew Ali. Tonight we will discuss the many messages that are being given. Are you awake? Have you been watching the admissions of truth that are being declared? Have you heard the admissions by Barak Obama, Michelle Obama? How about what Pope Francis admitted? We will listen to and discuss some of Pope Francis's admissions. You listen, contemplate, and discuss what was unveiled. Islam. So let's see. Should we play? I was able to carve out some of the interesting things that he said, and it's about 11 minutes long. Now, you guys let me know. Should I play it now and then we talk about it? Or do you guys want to talk about...
I think you should. I think you ought, because if, as you said, and as I have found, a lot of people are oblivious to it and haven't even really heard it at all. So, it might be educational for them to, for them to hear and tell these people that they're immigrants, man, that's some powerful stuff right there.
Yes, it
was. On the Congress floor. We've been telling people that these people are foreign immigrants, like for forever. All right, and therefore, and that is why they have no jurisdiction over your affairs, public, private, or otherwise. They are not the government, and they're certainly not your government. And that's a totally different jurisdiction of which you cannot be a member or citizen of. And now he comes. Well, listen, Liz, what did you say? What did you say earlier? You said that their father came, but they didn't mention who they were.
We could get into that. We could definitely get into that. You might want to play the clip first, but that's what it is. But hold on, before you do, I just want to add on this one reference. Like before we go forward, I just want to take it back real quick. Because we was mentioning about the red moon or the blood moon last night, and big fat acknowledgement to you and Honor Eve for it getting to my attention at the time. But I just want to add a reference to show how relevant that is in law. Before we go on, and this is real brief, but in the John Bouvier's Institutes of American Law, page 1739, it goes in on judicial notice, and it says that courts will take judicial notice of the course of time of the heavenly bodies. And we know that the moon is a heavenly body, or the magnetic mother visible, to us on this earth plane. So it says in a reference there is People versus Cheeky, Cheekee, and that comes from out of California. Do your research on that. It also says courts will take judicial notice of things which must happen according to the laws of nature. And I just correlate that back to the moon, and this is like aspects of the law of nature in conjunction with Mercury retrograde and things of that nature. We could go on, but I don't want to chew too much time. We can get into the main subject, but I just wanted to add that on in conjunction with the moon was mentioned about the other night, and how imperative that is in our culture as far as timekeeping, and just the whole concept of the 365-day calendar, the timing of the Pope coming here to North America, Northwest of Mexico, on the equinox period or equilibrium period or whatnot. I just wanted to add that aspect to light in conjunction with that. And as we go on, we all will have a lot more to add on. But with that, I yield the floor. Islam?
Islam, yes. There is a lot to add on to that, and I think we'll get a little deeper in that with that in Wednesday's class tomorrow. Because it's just so much with that. But, hey, divine law governing all events. And, it's like, I will say this, though. A lot of people, when they talk about this blood moon, and what you see and what you hear written, they're always talking from the aspect of, it means war. The last time it happened, it was war, all this stuff, right? But no one ever reflects on polarities, and they forget that it's the great and dreadful day. So that means that, does it mean war and destruction for you, or does it mean peace and love? It depends on, where you are with it. Some people are going to feel the opposite reflection of the energy, and others aren't, because that's what the great and dreadful day is all about, So it depends on where you are. But most of the stuff you read about, most of the stuff people talk about is always on the negative end of destruction. So we have to raise our level, our consciousness level to a higher level, to a higher place. Mm-hmm. But anyway, I do want to say this. It's so exciting. I know we're going to talk about it and you're going to play it, but I just like that analogy that you guys gave, Ms., when you were saying that, all of these people were waiting and waiting for the Pope to come, and that's their father, but he never mentioned who the grandfather was, because he's sitting under the. Yeah.
Nah, that's real. That's real fact. Like, because the word Pope itself means father. Like Pope, Papa, all of these things mean father. But again, as you brought to light, the Pope claims to be a vicar, which is a substitute God. And for all quote Christians, if you look at John 10:30, it says, "I and the Father are one." And this is not to promote a patriarch, but just to say that if you're looking at a European who's calling himself the Pope, which actually means father, that's what the word means. Pope means father. If that's your father, if you claim him to be your father, you definitely outside of the honor of your foremothers and forefathers. And I'm not judging, I'm just saying that's fact, because this is a modern European here. To them, maybe that's who they consider their father, but as far as fact and history goes, that statement alone puts them in dishonor of their foremothers and forefathers, because they know, real fact, this is why who they're claiming to be their father, the Pope, is sitting up under the coat of arms of Moors, because that's we the grandfathers, the grandmothers of the entire human family, and that's really what it is. So he's the substitute God, and look at our titles, Bay, El. These go back to lords in the Elohim, the lords of the earth plane. So the whole point of the Christianity, honestly, was to kind of like get you out of your impropria persona into an artificial status with an artificial God that, or Father God, or whatever, a vicar, as called, bishops, popes, whatever, the priesthood, But I don't know, just to add on the least before we go in, this is the priesthood that Noble Drew was speaking about already being dead. Like the priesthood is dead, and their greatest needs is for funeral chants and things of that nature. So yeah, I mean, it's not that I'm saying that he was fronting. I'm just saying that it's there. We just have to observe. He's under a Moorish coat of arms with the bear, the bishop mitre, the horse head, and the seashell with two keys and whatnot. Like, this is the coat of arms. So that alone says a lot, and I just hope that we can analyze that coat of arms for what it is, signs, symbols, learning by that, and realizing the difference in the power that's an illusion, and where the allegiance is at. That's it. I don't want to say too much before or cut off, going into that. But definitely to add on once we, examine the speech or whatnot. But yeah, that was my piece on that. That this is a substitute father, as he's claiming, as people are claiming him to be, whether they know it or not. Like, again, the etymology of Pope is father, and this is a claim Noble Drew Ali made, that this is a reason why we fell, is because we stopped honoring our mothers and fathers and straight after the idol gods of Europe, of whom we really didn't know nothing about, and that was a priesthood. So there you have it. And with that, I yield the floor as well.
Yeah.
Wow.
Just quickly, just so people don't get caught up, because they're gonna hear Moors listening to the Pope and think that, oh yeah, we're worshiping somebody new now or whatever. We're analyzing his word.
Right.
He's not our vicar. He's not our father. He's not anybody that we are looking to for any type of, sanctioning or authority figure or nothing like that. Right. We're analyzing what Noble Drew Ali laid down to the Moors, that the European's going to tell you the truth. Even though he's from South America, he's not even European, but, he'll pass for the people who only look at face value.
Indeed.
The European Pope is going to be telling the truth to all these so-called people that are classified as Negro, black, colored, conscious community and all that, about really what's going on and where their allegiance is supposed to lie.
Mm-hmm.
He lays it all down.
And one more thing to add on to that, to show, right, that this is a substitute God in a modern, quote, religion. But it goes to show in a certain aspect, how influential in the aspect that religious heads have, like how much influence they have, because you're talking about a person who's claiming to be a father of particular people in a Catholic church and kissing the Holy Quran, that came to Northwest Mexham and took over the Congress floor with all the Supreme Court justices in attendance. Like that's saying something. That's saying something about these quote unquote religious positions, if you will, to say the least. And I'm not saying this the salvation in the inferior or demigod, but just to show that the democracy has a certain pathway or allegiance to that. And that's the truth. But like y'all said, like it's been said, like Noble Drew Ali said, the European will tell the truth. Not everybody is concealing, but there's a lot that's being concealed. And with that, I just yield the floor. But just take note, the head of the Catholic Church can take the Congress floor on Northwest Mexham soil. And that's not for nothing. You know what I'm saying?
That's right. That's right.
That
but my thing is, which we'll find, is what he told them. What he told them, and what I get out of it is just like Cujo said, we're analyzing this, and it's clearly and unequivocally past time right now. You know what I'm going to say? It's like, man, it is finished, as I like to use that terminology on it, because, like you said, they're going to tell the truth, so now they're telling the truth. I would think that people who are off balance with what's going on might really get a little confused now because they haven't studied enough. They're running after things that they shouldn't be running after. And these things are coming to truth and to fruition. And if you don't have the right information, you really will not know, still will not know what to do.
Don't get thrown up on.
Right.
Yeah.
Also, not in any way to taint the image, but still looking at this being the head of the Catholic Church in a totally different jurisdiction. Like, and it's not for nothing why Noble Drew Ali said, declare your free national name and religion. Like, that's not for nothing, Sam. Like, this was for a reason. These are totally two separate jurisdictions. And, a lot of people forget about the whole discrepancy or dispute about church and state, which never really was separated. You know, these are political powers that are speaking. The Pope is a political head for the Christian nations, in a sense, if you will. So remember, that's definitely still politics. Why he could take the Congress floor and have everybody in attendance of so-called political trusteeship or in so-called political offices and shut, quote, cities down and the whole nine, because all of these have the same allegiance. These the same people, Christian corporations. So
I don't think they like them too much now, though.
Yeah, but not for nothing with that. I definitely yield the floor to what the Europeans' modern father has to say.
All right, well, what we're going to do at this time is we are going to play this 11 minutes of the conversation, a portion of the address that the Pope Francis made to the Congress. So what I would suggest you do is take out your paper and pen, because you might hear something and it'll bring a thought to your mind, and you're going to want to write it down. Write down everything, every thought that comes to mind, because it's so much happening and it's so many things that's being said. If you don't write it down, you might forget, and when it comes time for our open discussion, you might not remember it. I would also suggest, I haven't listened to the entire, it's about an hour long, the entire address. I think I listened to maybe half of it. But at marker, I think 23.15 is when he talks about the Aboriginal Indigenous people of this land, but he doesn't call them Aboriginal Indigenous. But he lets you know exactly who he's talking about, and we're going to listen to it right now, and then we'll have some discussion. All right? So listen up.
All right.
Of the march which Martin Luther King led from Selma to Montgomery 50 years ago as part of the campaign to fulfill his dream of full civil and political rights for African Americans. That dream continues to inspire us all, and I am happy that America continues to be, for many, a land of dreams. Dreams which lead to action, to participation, to commitment. Dreams which awaken what is deepest and truest in the life of the people. In recent centuries, millions of people came to this land to pursue the dream of building a future in freedom. We, the people of this continent, are not fearful of foreigners, because most of us were once foreigners. I say this to you as the son of immigrants, knowing that so many of you are also descendants of immigrants. Tragically, the rights of those who were here long before us were not always respected. For those peoples and their nations from the heart of American democracy, I wish to reaffirm my highest esteem and appreciation. Those first contacts were often turbulent and violent, but we know that it's very difficult to judge the past by the criteria of the present. Nonetheless, when the stranger in our midst appeals to us, we must not repeat the sins and the errors of the past. We must resolve now to live as nobly and as justly as possible, as we educate new generations not to turn their back on our neighbors and everything around us. Building a nation calls us to recognize that we must constantly relate to others, rejecting a mindset of hostility in order to adopt one of reciprocal subsidiarity in a constant effort to do our best. I'm confident that we can do this. Our world is facing a refugee crisis of a magnitude not seen since the Second World War. This presents us with great challenges and many hard decisions. On this continent, too, thousands of persons are led to travel north in search of a better life for themselves and for their loved ones, in search of greater opportunity. It is not what we want for our own children. We must not be taken aback by the numbers, but rather view them as persons, seeing their faces and listening to their stories, trying to respond as best we can to their situation, to respond in a way which is always humane, just, and fraternal. We need to avoid a common temptation nigh ways to discard whatever proves troublesome. Let us remember the golden rule: do unto others as you as you will have them do unto you. This rule points us in a clear direction. Let us treat others with the same passion and compassion with which we want to be treated. Let us seek for others the same possibilities which we seek for ourselves. Let us help others to grow as we would like to be helped ourselves. In a word, if we want security, let us give security. If we want life, let us give life. If we want opportunities, let us provide opportunities. The yardstick we use for others will be the yardstick which time uses for us. The Golden Rule also reminds us of our responsibility to protect and defend human life at every stage of its development. This conviction has led me from the beginning of my ministry to advocate at different levels the global abolition of the death penalty. I am convinced that this way is the best, since every life is sacred, every human person is endowed with unalienable dignity, and society can only benefit from the rehabilitation of those convicted of crime. Recently, my brother bishops here in the United States renewed the call for the abolition of the death penalty. Not only do I support them, but I also offer encouragement to all those who are convinced that a just and necessary punishment must never exclude the dimension of hope and the goal of rehabilitation.
All righty, that's it. That is Islam the 11. That's a portion of the hour-long address that Pope Francis gave to Congress. And I don't know if you heard it, but I heard him let them know that they are all foreigners. They are the foreigners, not us. I heard him say that the people who were here, that would be the Aboriginal Indigenous people, that's the melanated skin people, they need not be afraid of the foreigners because they were here before the foreigners. And he even called the foreigners immigrants. Yeah, he said we're all immigrants. So he said the majority of the people who came here were immigrants, and basically they really still are. So,
well, how could they not be? How could they not be immigrants? Immigrants are immigrants. I mean, just because they may have taken allegiance, check it out, just because they may have taken an allegiance and became naturalized or whatever like that, doesn't change, Prophet we always said it doesn't change the descent nature. But for us, that's interesting because we need to think about where is our allegiance. Our allegiance should be with our own nation. Instead, we keep wanting to be underneath an inferior jurisdiction.
That's right. That's right. And we're all Moors over here. Look, there's a few Moors around here that keep wanting to allege that they are claiming something using the policies and procedures of the United States of America.
Yeah.
Now, that's so out of order, it's ridiculous, because your writs say you are not members/citizens of the United States of America, as it states in Article 1 of the Constitution. So why would you be using the policies and procedures of the United States of America? When you send out documents and you say, hey, I'm a Moor, and then you turn around and send out other documents that says, but I'm going to use the policies of the United States of America, you just neutralized any document that in any way professed you were a Moor. But, that's all. This conversation that the Pope had, he unveiled a lot of stuff. Now, like I said, I wasn't interested in listening to whatever he had to say. I felt that it was just, a big show. But what I'm, some other people had been listening and paying attention. The universe apparently had guided them to listen, and they heard this speech and contacted me and was telling me about this speech that he had. Now, also what was told was he had a private conversation with the so-called members of Congress, and at the conclusion of that meeting, that private meeting, some people resigned. Mm-hmm. In addition, so whatever he said made some other of those same group of people cry. So this is very interesting what's going on. I was also informed that the Pope went to the prison, took the shoes off of the prisoners' feet, washed their feet, and kissed their feet. Now, I know what that means. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to say what it means, because if anybody has done a little bit of paying attention, you know what that message was saying.
Mm-hmm.
It was there, and there was also a picture, and I got it. I have to, I don't have it, but there's a picture of Michelle Obama in black, the Pope in white in the center, and Barak Obama in black on his other side. If you know anything about the signs and the science, you know exactly what that means. I'm not going to tell you, because you should have been studying and paying attention.
What?
There's so much going on right now, globally, not just nationwide, but globally. There is so much going on. If you never got it before that the nationality is the name of the game, You ought to have felt it rippling this past week. All around rippling was nationality, and then we get the blood moon. You know, I mean, this is a time for every Moor to stop playing games. But know that even if you are playing games, you ain't playing games with people outside of yourself. You are playing games with yourself and yourself only. You need to stop playing games because there's a lot of stuff happening and there's a lot of stuff yet to happen. And I don't think it's going to be bad things, but I do believe that if your energy is not correct, you're going to get caught up in something you probably don't want to get caught up in. And this is why the prophet said, study, study, study. That don't mean fake study. That means study seriously. He said you're going to need each other more than ever before. He said study, 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 because these things he already saw coming. And if you really were sitting down and you studying instead of trying to study for him and her, or trying to study so that you can, you know, get a little shop together so you can go out and talk to the people, we have been conditioned to believe that we got to save everybody but ourselves. Now, what's crazy about that is you can't save nobody until you first save yourself. And then once you save yourself, you become an energy vibration for other people. It ain't about your words. It ain't about what you think you're doing. It's all about your energy. We need to stop. He said, you know, I'm going to say it like this. Let other people worry about other people. You worry about yourself. And isn't that what the prophet said? He said, I gave you everything to save a nation. Everything to save a nation. Now go out and save yourself. Go out and save yourself. That means study for you. You. Study for you. Because if you study for you, what you're going to find is that what you're saying and doing and putting out is going to benefit everybody anyway. So we need to really study, because the things that are happening now and the things that are yet to come, it is through studying that you're going to be able to see what's happening, and you're going to know, oh, it's some good things getting ready to go down, instead of falling into the land of fear. If you're not studying, you're going to get fearful. And if you get fearful, you're going to start manifesting things that are fearful to you. This is why the prophet said, study, study, study. Islam?
Islam.
True indeed. But I know you wasn't going to add on to this, but I just wanted to add on too, in conjunction with the quote Pope washing Moor's feet, or quote prisoner's feet. If you look at John 13:10 of the now called Holy Bible, it says, and remind you, like with what you're saying, even what's being said, and what Noble Drew Ali came to do, like, if you look at it, he was breaking the Christian spell by saying, look, these lessons are for all of those who claim that they love Jesus, not who actually do, but claim that they do. And he brought it back to light how it really means justice. But John 13:10, it says, Yahshua saith to him, he that is washed needeth not save to wash his feet, but is clean every whit. And ye are clean, but not all. John 13:10. I just wanted to correlate that in conjunction with the whole ritual of washing the feet, which goes back way further than that, you know, as far as taking shoes off, whatnot, those ancient customs. But more and all is just being, you know, at one with yourself inside, as you said, which is where the true priesthood is, because that's where the meeting place with the Most High is, in the heart. And With that being said, I yield the floor because I know you have more to add on.
Islam. Well, as far as the Pope, it's interesting that, like we were saying, they're doing this as far as a show. You know, what are they showing? Like, what are they presenting? When you see the video, there's the two individuals that are behind the Pope while he's talking. Their reactions are crazy to what he's saying. Have guys pulling out handkerchiefs and have to wipe their nose and stuff like that. Because they know that they're a bankrupt corporation. They know about motu proprio and that everything's pretty much over. And he's letting them know that they're immigrants so they can make their decision to, you know what I mean, stay or leave. Because, you know, the corporation's already traded hands. If you didn't notice that the corporation traded hands. And it's not even no U.S. who you're thinking is the enemy right now. That thing's so far gone. That thing called U.S. Corporation is so far gone into so many hands, you don't even know what's going on right now. Like, how come the Pope is coming here? Like, how come he's over here?
Right.
Like, over here? Why is he coming over here? Shouldn't he be doing this stuff in the Vatican or something like that? St. Peter's Square or something like that?
And I know you got something to add on, Mom. And if Moshish is listening, I know he got something to add on as far as that goes, because from what we understand and was analyzing, if you look at it, they have an agreement to pay the Pope or their father on both of the equinoxes, the time of the equinox, which was, in March during the vernal equinox, and around this time during the autumn equinox. Like, he actually came for payday, collection time. You know what I mean? That's really
they don't have nothing to give them.
Yeah, well, there you go. But he came to collect, though. Trust me, they collected. Yeah. He collected something.
He collected something.
They had something to give him. Trust me.
Mad
yeah, they already know the drilly with that. Like that.
so he collected something and then he slapped them around a bit, right?
Yeah, basically, he's a pimp.
Yeah.
That's basically what it is.
They had to get, somebody from the jurisdiction to say it. They had to get somebody from the jurisdiction. How come they didn't use, any of these other popes to do what he's doing? But then he also put people. He also put people on such a spell that people even clapping for letting the popes who touch the boys get off.
Right.
About showing them sympathy. What are you talking about? How come the clap, the applause button's working when people are talking about let the pedophile priest get a pass? You're clapping for that? Something's definitely wrong. Something's definitely wrong. Because you can't be clapping for human rights and then you're clapping for molest children. You can't serve two masters. So who's the new master? Because U.S. is dead. Their Emancipation Proclamation, 2015, sell the slaves again. Because they have no money. What are they selling? What are they paying him off with? If it's not the shadow property and the paper.
Mm-hmm.
All these people owned by the Pope right now. Because they want to file UCCs or whatever.
Right. Right. How about that?
Owned by the Pope right now. Jesuits and all that. You want to talk about Mark of the Beast? Mark of the Beast was all those fraudulent paperwork. Selling people.
Uh-huh.
Got all you guys. Because what are they going to do? Use that to fund the next 500 years of enslavement of the world. Under the guise of human rights. Because they don't even talk about birthrights anymore. Only Moors talk about birthrights.
Yeah.
People who have birthrights in other countries don't even talk about birthrights anymore. They talk human rights.
Mm-hmm.
Even those people gave up their birthright.
Right. I just have a question though, and I don't know. This might be a part of history I'm seriously lacking information in. I don't know if it was safe to say the Queen of England, because you know that the Romans colonized Great Britain because Moors were there before the Romans were. But like when you look at this priesthood, it's all reflected on the chessboard. And the thing is, like, you hear about the Pope, you know, the Pope this, the Pope that. But that right there, if you talk about a patriarch, that's what it is right there. That's the true origins right there of the patriarch, bottom line. Because the question is this, who's the Pope's queen or who's the mother in conjunction with the Pope? Where is she at? This is what I'm saying. If you talk about a patriarch, that right there is the magnitude of it, right there. The Pope being the substitute God, claiming it, a substitute father, claiming it. And where's the rebuttal at? That's it right there. Like, a lot of control over the U.S. Corporation. Yield the Congress floor to this man. You know what I mean? Like,
floor.
But like, where's the Pope's queen? Like, where's she politically at in this? Because we know every chess board there has to be a queen there's a missing piece. It's just something not right. So when we mention patriarch, like what the Pope is doing, what has been done, I'm not saying or paying everybody bad. I'm just saying that that's the magnitude of it right there. Like, it doesn't get any higher than that. This man is claiming to be a father of who? And where's the mother at? That's just basically what it is. I mean, I don't know. I know you have, quote, kings of England and, quote, queens of England. But I might be missing something in history. I never heard of, like, a queen of the Vatican. Like, I never heard of it. I might be slacking. I don't know. So feel free to please enlighten me on that subject.
There is none. There is none.
Right. Exactly.
Historically, the Pope is supposed to be this celibate person. But if you go back in history, you'll find that the Pope was very active, had children all over the countryside. All right? So he had all of these women. He wasn't married to any of them. Had children everywhere.
That's why they call him the father. Right? Or is it like a wardship concept? I'm gonna claim I don't have any children, but I'm gonna claim all of you all as my children type of thing. Like, I don't know. it's just so many dimensions to that title. It's just really interesting. But I hear you. That may be exactly why they call it.
Another thing too you could consider too is mother being the queen that he's in secret chambers kissing and bowing down to when showing people the Virgin Mary.
True.
As the mother.
True.
You know, and there's no real representation physically as far as the order of Catholicism of a female, you know what I mean, living, breathing entity, but there is representation of a female that they honor higher than the Pope.
True. That's true. That is the Moorish woman, in fact.
But they do it in secret. Yeah, but they do it in secret.
That's true. That's absolutely true. So there you go. You know, in secret, that's the true veneration. The quote-unquote father, at the end of the day, you know, Moors pray or whatever to a energy that's manifest but unseen. To them, that energy in idolatry, that's the Moorish woman. Like, they see her as the God, as you're saying. And it's not that it's not true. That's truth. She, you know what I mean? She's the original being. It's a picture called it's an 18th century portrait called The Father Fashioning the Image of God. And it's a European drawing on the trestle board the image of a Moabite or Moorish woman from Guadalupe or Guatemala. I apologize. But it goes to show that, you know, what you're saying is absolutely right, that this is who they venerate, you know, as a Lord of inheritance. This is truth. So basically, I guess that's what the mystery is, man, because as I asked, where is the queen in this picture, but sacredly or secretly for them, it's the Moorish woman. And I got that, and I'll always keep that in mind because it seems so secret or not apparent because they're doing this in secret. Like the woman that they worship is the Moorish woman. So that might be the missing link in where is the woman in all of this. Because I'm going to just say this and yield the floor. Like, even if you go back and watch the movie 300, when Leonidas went amongst those monsters to get permission for war, they had to ask the oracle who was a woman. And they were setting her up with all type of magic to make her levitate, all of these different things. So in secret, like, it don't matter. I mean, you know, at the end of the day, they consult with the matriarch energy. That's fact. But and you know, the appearances, let's put this patriarch dude claiming to be the father, and he's in denial of his ancestry in a sense, whereas they're not mentioning the granddaddies or the grandmothers, you know, or maybe we're just not recognizing it. They're not in denial because it's in their coat of arms. So I don't know, but I think that is the missing link, and I'm going to yield the floor with that. But the missing link from the Vatican is the Moorish woman, because there's kings of England, kings and queens, for the modern terminology. Like, if we came over here, we had sheiks and sachems. But if you're talking over the Great Atlantis, for the most part, in European references, they call monarchs or sovereigns or heads of tribes kings and queens. It's just that queen portion is missing from the Vatican, and I don't know, unless you know the science, is one of the most weirdest trinities ever for me to analyze is the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. which leaves the woman out, but then understanding the higher science of the angels or Asiatics, which the original would be the mother, that's the Holy Spirit manifested in the flesh. But they don't just break it plain like father, mother, child. It's like, father, mother, and mystery type of thing. But we already know that. But that's really what it is. So that missing link from the substitute father or father God, which our father God is Allah or mother God or mother father, however you want to look at it for those on the higher degree, the secret teachings of John. There you go about the mother father, how everything is one. But it would be an imbalance, lacking one or the other in a sense. And I just see the imbalance of what's going on with the Vatican and these Roman institutions on American soil. Because, a lot of people don't understand the connection. They just think, the Pope, he's a holy figure, and they have to pay respect to somebody who has the word of God type of thing. No, they're running these municipalities operating on American soil. So when they say the municipal court of whatever city or whatever, you know what I mean? You got to understand this man is at the head, the bank of that. You know what I mean? This is the Roman father for them, exclusive of the grandmothers and grandfathers, because, they have some problems acknowledging us to a certain extent. But, that's what it is. So the municipalities, the Roman venues, they in a certain extent honor their father to their claim. Not that, Moors are not a superior or more ancient existence in this form, and not to look at anybody inferior, but to say that, who they claim as their father, they'll shut a city down, and redirect traffic for that, to make sure he got the clear pathway to come through unencumbered. That's the type that they on, because at the end of the day, they're all subordinates of that Roman venue. No different than you got subordinate more science temples of America. These are subordinate venues of Rome. When they say, Atlantic City Municipal Court, or, Municipal Court of Trenton, or Municipal Court of Cleveland, or whatever it is, wherever, any municipal venue, this is who they are, reporting back to. This is what's in operation. And with that, I think the point is already known and well emphasized, and I yield the floor, family. Islam.
All right, Islam. Miss, your mom dropped off and she has not called back in yet.
All right.
I don't know if her phone died or what.
All right. I see what's good with Dimitri. And I'll just yield the floor for now. Y'all keep going in. I'll see what's up.
All righty.
All
righty. Well, when you look at the Pope as it is now, it is very people have been conditioned around the world, so to speak, to totally ignore, carve out mother, and the only thing that is important is father. You do the etymology on father, you will find out that it too is talking about mother, because in this universe, the only thing going on here is mother and son. That's it. There's nothing else. But one of the reasons that programming had to be implemented was in order for the a state to appear to be transferred, and it's from the Moorish family to the modern Europeans. The only way that the plan to make it appear as though the estate had been transferred was to get everybody to now look at the father as the head, well, let me see, the son. Actually, to look at the son as the head as opposed to mother, because everything comes out of a womb. So really, when you look at this Pope and the message that they are sending, it is that a son is the creator of life. That's the message that's being sent. And how well is that program being absorbed? Very well. Very, very well. Because many people believe that it's an interesting and erroneous biology, but many people believe that the woman only was able to conceive because the son passed a sperm to the mother. But when we do the research, the history, the true biology, we learn that she came here with all her eggs. So that was never necessary, but to be able to condition the minds of the people, that conditioning, that thought that the father is the head and everything comes through him, that had to go over. And unfortunately, there's a lot of sons out there who really and truly believe. I got emails from a few when we put up the dissertation regarding the diabolical plan that is afoot. There was quite a few emails we got from a lot of sons who maintain emphatically that the nationality of the child comes from the father, and that I was absolutely did not have the people's best interest at heart, passing that lie off and everything. But it's not a lie. What is a lie is what we've been told. Even things as simple as as biology, we've been misinformed on. So we gotta. It's funny because, and I think a lot of people have a challenge with nationality and even being a Moor or admitting to be a Moor, because when you come into this information and you start realizing just how much you were misinformed, you do have to go back to school. But it is a school and a schoolroom that only you would build, and the schoolroom is anywhere that any space that you can find to put your books and your papers and your notebooks and your pens so that you can jot down notes about the information that you're receiving. If you think that you're going to go to a college, or maybe there's a special college out here that Europeans control, that they're going to now let you in because you're a Moor, that's never going to happen, honey. That's why the prophet said, study, study, study. Because you're going to have to go back to school. Every last one of us is going to have to go back to school. All of us are going to have to do independent study. We're going to have to become researchers for real and not just followers. And we're going to have to learn how to dig up information. We're going to have to learn to think about it, turn it over in our head, contemplate about it, and come back with reasonable analysis. And you know what? We weren't taught that in school. Some of us have it from a past life, and we came here with it. But many of us don't have that, and we have to learn it now. And, it's very trying for a lot of people. They didn't like school to begin with. This is where we are. And everything that you're going to learn it if you want to learn it, because this is not about anybody holding your hand. This is all about you taking 100% responsibility for your nationality and your birthright. And if you're not going to take 100%, nobody is going to take it for you. Nobody. Because everybody is trying to find themselves. And finding yourself, it takes a lot of work. The reason it takes a lot of work is because we've been conditioned for so many years to hide from ourselves, to not like ourselves. So it's hard work. It ain't easy. But this is exactly why we got to study. And this is why, even though you studying yourself, finding yourself, it's going to be a very ugly journey. Prophet already gave you the end game. So you shouldn't even be, really upset about the trash that's within you that you're going to have to go through. Because it don't matter. You already know what the end game is. So might as well jump in and start somewhere.
True.
Yeah.
True. And Mama Love is trying to get back on, just for the record. She's trying to get back.
I really will tell her she needs to call in right now. Wait a minute. Let me see. Trying to get in. Well, try to call right now. And then we can, and she didn't, I don't think she, man.
When you're talking
she'll make it happen. Go ahead, cool.
She should try to call in right now. Let's see, did we get her in? No. Still trying to wait for her to call in. She got put that number on.
She said she should be in there. You should see her. You should see her with the hand up.
She is.
But she was saying that she wanted Cool Joe to finish his comment at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah. What I was gonna say was, like, when we're talking about the studying, even with the thing with the Pope, you know what I mean, listening to things like that are what we can use to see what perspective people are using certain words. Like when you looked at all the different delegates at the UN meeting that they had, all this stuff going on at the same time, and the amount of times that they mentioned sovereignty, I know they're talking to Moors.
Yes.
Ain't no way they're talking to nobody else out here. If all these people keep talking about is sovereignty in their language. Sovereignty, national sovereignty.
Mm-hmm. Right.
All of these things, like how people might watch the game, those are the stuff that we should be paying attention to.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because these people have a responsibility to let us know what's going on. Because people might they're gonna play games about Moors. They don't want to be Moors because of whatever. But the Pope has at least read one writ from a Moor.
Mm-hmm.
At least one. I know for sure he read. There's no way they cast all those aside.
Right.
Right? Because as Moors, that's something that we do. You know what I mean? Like, we let people know about our status. We let people know that we're here again.
Yes, yes, yes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're not trying to make up something and try to force somebody to believe something that they don't know exists or not.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
We're talking about something that's actual, factual, that everybody knows.
Except those who need to know.
Except those who need to know. Right? Do you think the pulpit society of Jesus? He's a Jesuit. You think he doesn't know about Moors?
Mm-hmm.
Like, he really doesn't know. He's just really coming here and talking about all this stuff, talking about America, not mentioning U.S. at all. How come he never mentioned U.S. or whatever? How come he's always talking about America?
That's interesting, Cujo. That's a very good point to bring out. Very good point.
Indeed. And also to add on to what you were saying about the Europeans using the word sovereign, if you go back into the 1920s, like there was a company established by Otto and William Sovereign. You know, they were founders of a company that started in so-called Michigan, and they had a vision for so-called Florida. It's a place now called so-called Florida, Aladdin City, like not Atlantic City, not like Atlantic City, New Jersey, but like Aladdin City, like the cartoon Aladdin, and it was specifically based to be a Moorish themed city, quote unquote, or exhibition of art within the jurisdiction of North America via buildings, etc. But this was their specific intention, was to build a Moorish themed city, and they were operating with the word sovereign in their corporation. I just felt compelled to add that on in conjunction with what you were saying. This goes back, I mean, we know that most of the, quote, cities in North America, Northwest of Mexico, are Moorish themed and architect, you know, et cetera, within the boundaries or whatnot. But, you know, just as far as Europeans using that word and correlating with Moors in that, it just was an interesting thing in conjunction with what you are saying, what we're saying about them using sovereign. And with that, I yield the floor, fam.
You know, like it's interesting, like you said, yeah, they've gotten a lot of writs, and that's also why Hillary Clinton was inspired to say what she said as well in Divine Time. Yes, definitely, because at the time that she was Secretary of State, I know the Moors was rocking her office. We are very much aware of that. At that time, it got heavy, but it's also interesting that they're obligated, but the thing that I find interesting is that at the same time they can't claim our nationality for us, and if we're willing not to, like, there's not much they can really do about it. Like, a lot of people think in this fashion that, oh yeah, you know, they're going to fix it. They're going to fix it. And I think, Anna, you mentioned earlier, no, they're not. You have to. So, and what we've experienced is that when we started making that claim, they were getting all ruffled under the feathers and everything, because we have to remember there are corporations that was putting food on their plate and sending their children to college based on our ignorance and the fact that we weren't claiming it. So, you know, imagine what it must be like for them, you know, to now see that we are, because they can't keep beating people upside their head and killing people in the streets. I mean, everybody has to know that is, like, finished. I'm not going to say that it wouldn't happen in 5 minutes from now, but you know, that whole way of looking at things as they were is over for them. And when you have people, like even with the Pope telling them, listen, you're immigrants, but look, 2 years ago, you know, paupers, you're the paupers and the friars and the beggars and the thieves, you know, as it is in the
vagabonds.
And the vagabonds, you know, it's the same, you know, it's reduced to, that was one of my favorite parts in there. I used to remember to beggars, friars, and thieves. So, you know, that was the Europeans. It wasn't us, you know. Right. So it's like it's like their position. I mean, Obama also said 2 years ago, and I saw with my own eyes and ears, he told them in reference to immigrants that they were immigrants. Michelle Obama 2 weeks ago said it. And she made the distinction, which was really powerful, when she told them at this naturalization immigration process that the people that signed the Declaration of Independence was not Americans. Now, that's some heavy stuff right there. I mean, real heavy for those who have believed or for those who have not been thinking at all, because we're not taught to think or have reasonable analysis at all. That's part of the program, because it's actually a program. And to say that, look, those people were not Americans. So for all of us who keep thinking that, yeah, this is America for the European, I mean, you know, they'll say for the white man, so-called white man, and so on. Well, guess what, my people? No, they were not the Americans. They're still not, really. They're American citizens of a certain rank, if they naturalize or whatever like that. But they're not the Americans. So now you've got to change your thinking. All this talk about immigrants, immigration, it's a message to you that they're the immigrants and they admit they came over here. They're not the Aboriginal people, and the Aboriginal people are not Indians. So, you know, it's all going to change. It's changing.
That's right, and that's why we got to study so we can pay attention, you know, and know what is going on. Not, well, you know not make, not come up with the absolutely incorrect analysis of what's going on, you know, because I was telling you, and this is why even when we talk and give information, or I should say when we talk, we back it up with the information that supports it, you know, usually from a historical place, because everybody should be, you know, able to think and come to a logical conclusion. So when you see things happening, you can come to a logical conclusion, because I'll tell you, I've had conversations with people and they've come up with some very interesting analysis, and when they show me where they got it from and I read it, that's not it. That's not it at all.
Right,
so sometimes, sometimes, you know, we'll read way too much into something and come away with an incorrect conclusion when it's really very simple. Everything really is very simple. And the reason it's very simple is because, look, this system that we are under right now, we already knew it because it really was a system that our family put together. What's crazy is these modern Europeans have gotten us to trade places with them, just in word and mental conditioning, not in actuality. And we really got to look at the things that they are doing that actually speaks of our culture, and the things that we are doing that actually speaks of their culture or lack of it. we need to let those things go. This is why the prophet said, we need to be worshiping under our own vine and fig tree. He also said, go back to the mindset of your foremothers and forefathers, because some of the things we're doing, that's not our history.
We're running around doing what you call workarounds and stuff, and and the weird part is getting all involved in, like you said, these code statutes and things that have to do with quasi-national domiciles. And it's just, we're tying ourselves up in new stuff and new quote-unquote contracts, be they adhesive or whatever, that we did not have before, that we got to untangle ourselves out of. It's bad enough we got to untangle ourselves out of whatever has been going on and the mental slavery and the conditioning. Now we got to tie ourselves out of, like, we're supposed to be coming to a consciousness raising about things, and here we are, doing all kinds of redemptions and crazy stuff like that. You know what I mean? Putting ourselves back in. Yeah. And I think Cujo said that, it's gone, it's bought, it's sold. So now if the United States of America Corporation is bankrupt, so are you if you got all these contracts that you don't recognize.
That's right.
You don't get it. If they're sold to whoever, so are you if you're under that jurisdiction and that's what you think it is. It's really simple.
It is.
It's nation time, and listen, it's nation time, and instead of you doing national stuff, you're doing inferior quasi-national stuff.
Doing statute stuff. Well, look, we got like 18 minutes left to the internet broadcast. We got an hour and 18 minutes left to our phone conversation. If you can't get into the phone line, which is 347-945-5899, please wait until 12:30 after the show, and at that time, the archive will upload, and you can listen to the last hour. All right? So with that, what we're going to do is we're going to take our first caller 929-234. You are live on the air. Please state your appellation at Northwestern Excellence.
Peace.
Peace.
This is Brother Shimuel. I haven't been here for a minute, but tonight was definitely an interesting subject. And there's so many points to go after with this subject, you know what I'm saying, being that our people actually have to stop watching TV so they can watch TV with the understanding of what's going on in TV, because everything is a program to take you away from your nationality, who you are, how you should think, and how you should live. And they our people so caught up in the system. And the last thing you said, statue. You see, you got to understand the word statue when you do the etymology on that, and it just came to me as you said it. You're talking about an idol, a statue, something that doesn't have no life, but you worship it, and it keeps you dead to yourself. So we have to, like you say, begin to study. And those of us who are studying have to begin to recognize a true Moor. And in the essence of understanding what it is to be Islam, you have to begin to understand, divided we fall, together we rise. And we have to begin to understand that we have to come to a point where we're going to have to give it all up for the sake of our children. So we have the ones that understand and have the power and the understanding of who we are have to begin to find a way to come together so that we can raise a new generation of people through studying and teaching, and as the scriptures say, training our children up in the way that they should go so that they do not depart from who they are.
That's right.
So it's but you got to begin to, like you say, study for yourself. I can't give you no help if you're not trying to help yourself, because everything I say is going to be foreign.
There's the word, foreign.
You see, so we have to begin to look within ourselves and understand that, you know, the greatest thing that these Europeans are playing on the fact they'll take what you lack to know of yourself and play it against you till you think that this belongs to them, and they're only using some of the instruments that belongs to you to deceive you with words. Casting a spell. It's not miraculous. It's physically as well as mentally.
Yes.
You see? And it twists you with your own words and have you doing opposite of what you need to be doing.
Yeah.
So we just have to find our way back to ourselves and understand, you know what I'm saying? Because even Christ said, he always referred to them of old. So if he's talking about old, he has to be talking about the mother and the father. Before him. See, he didn't come with a new agenda. He came with what already was in existing law.
Yep.
And that's what people have to begin to realize. You know what I'm saying? Everything wraps around the law. They use words to deceive you and pull you away from divine order, a divine way of living, so that they can put up an idol for you to worship called so-called law, call a statue, municipality. You see what I'm saying? Keeping you away from the truth and the essence of the original people.
Yeah.
You see? And that's all it is. You know, we have to begin to understand, just like, you know, I hear you saying about the Pope. The Pope, there was once said that Pope always kept a black Madonna under his, whatever you call that long thing he wears. And they have pure knowledge of who we are. We're the one that's lacking the understanding of who we are because we don't do no researches, we don't do no studying. You know what I'm saying? If we do any study, we stop at the letter. We don't look up words. You know what I'm saying? If we don't understand a word, we skip right over it. And in a paragraph, it may be only one word that will sum up the whole paragraph that will give you a clean understanding of what it's trying to revelate to you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The lack of one word will change the concept of everything, and that's why when you're dealing with them in court, they play around with words, and all you have to do is throw one word out there, and it'll take away from 1,000 words, they say.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? And that word based right on truth. You see? Because they deal with deceptions. You know? So, that's my piece on that, you know what I'm saying? And it's been wild, and as I can see, my brothers and sisters are still doing what they do, and I really do appreciate it. And men, and I'm going to express this every time I come online. See, if you even look at the attributes of Christ, it was done in a mother figure, and I have to agree. The biggest thing, when you separate that woman from the family, you ain't got nothing to work with. You have to, our men, we have to come to that full understanding, that realization that woman is the one, and because of her, everything is going to be, hey, our Savior going to come through that woman. Because she's going to be the motivating factor for us to utilize the power that was already invested in us.
Mm-hmm. And with that, brother, you're saying that for the brothers to hear, but really the sisters need to know this themselves too.
See, because the reason why I say this, because, you know, sisters, they have a way of clamming and reaching to a point where brothers have a way of, you know, this tearing down of the woman, because if we get in our place, because that's the major factor of where we at right now, coming out of our place, our respect for our women. You see what I'm saying? And because of the way our women are made up, you know what I'm saying, where there's a 9-time increase in her birth, there's a 9-time increase in her thought powers and everything. So if I can get to the point where I can destroy one level of her power, I can take her on a level declining 9 times to a weaker point, to the point where she will, when she can lift me up, she will destroy me. So I look at my responsibility, you know what I'm saying, as far as my women, because the way women are made, they can overcome quicker than men, because men are settle quit. You know what I'm saying? So it takes a lot to destroy a woman, and it takes a lot because I know, because when you in, you in. But when you out, buddy, it's work to get back in. You know what I'm saying? And that's real and real. But a man, hey, you know what I'm saying? The next well, let's play the fish in the sea. Next. You know what I'm saying? Next. Yeah, that's how quick it can be, but it takes a lot for a woman to defile herself, and that's why I say strongly our brothers have to begin to lift them up so that they can continue to lift us up. You know what I'm saying? Because it's come to my understanding without a shadow of a doubt. You know what I'm saying? We can do so many things, but nothing like that helped meeting us with the power that was invested in her. You know what I'm saying? Because the Creator had to see a great deal of need for us to bless us with such a beautiful thing, a person. You see what I'm saying? So I rest on these things because I come to find out, you know what I'm saying, if you don't do the etymology of these words, you know, the very essence of the things that you think that's not of us, you know what I'm saying, it's going to take us away, you know what I'm saying, where we stand even with all the knowledge that we have of self. You know what I'm saying? Just like when a lot of people use the word church, if you do the etymology on that, you'll come to find out it's only talking about a congregation and not a building. And that's why you're drawn in the building and you're deceived to the foolish, because you don't understand what it is. Because I've been reading the scriptures in so many other books to where you can see where certain words has been drafted in the same way they do you with the law books. They draft these things in and make it common to you and use them in the terminology, but they also leave room for you to, if you do any study, you'll find out that the word ain't saying what it's saying.
Right. Right. Well, that's, jurisdiction. That's what jurisdiction is. Juris is right, and diction is words, and it's all about having the right words and being in the right jurisdiction where it applies.
You see what I'm saying? And see, now, with you saying, I never look at it from that perspective, you know what I'm saying, but I understand what jurisdiction based on and the power in understanding the jurisdiction and where I rest within this world, you know what I'm saying, but I never look at it from that point. You see what I'm saying? That's because, you can go to a word and look things up, and the more you read, the more it really reveals itself. You can never say, okay, I study enough. No.
Right.
This is an ongoing thing, everyday thing, because as you get wise to knowing and understanding these things, this is why they have so many editions of this, the Black Law Dictionary, because every time they go to it, they're going to try to dumb it down to benefit them. But yet they're going to turn around and use the same law that you understand and know, but just going to twist a new word to set beside one word to throw it from its natural form. You know, so
on that same note, originally, if you look at the older ones to the newer ones, like except for like after the 5th edition, like you'll realize that for the most part they was adding on to certain things, and then they got to a point where they said, no, let's take away, let's subtract, let's make this thing thinner, opposed to adding on more references, because as time goes on, there's certain precedents that happen in law where they say, all right, we're going to add this in. But it got to a point where they said, we're going to take more information away. So like you're saying, that's
how can I deceive you if you know the truth?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? No matter how I twist it with word, Germania, Latin, you know what I'm saying, broken English, Middle English, you know what I'm saying, because they come to realize we gonna wake up, and they know that time is coming, so they got to keep all kind of distractions. So if I put words where you can't understand and you don't have the concept of how to look up anything, later for that, man. You know what I'm saying? Because when I first came to this right here, Bro, let me tell you something. I used to go online and Nick could be speaking and my aunt could be sitting right next to me. She'd be jotting down notes, and I probably get 2 words in, and it all sound Japanese to me.
Mm-hmm.
But I kept going and I kept going and kept studying, and the more you study, you can see the basics in every element of the seat that they have. But then you have to realize that they don't stop at one frame. So you have to go and understand the foundation of the laws and these words to the point where they could come with 1,000 words, and then all you have to do is interject that one truth.
Right.
You know, so we have to begin to realize that we have to study. You know what I'm saying? And even Christ says, study to show thyself approval from the workman not to be ashamed of. That means that you cannot leave nothing unturned.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Badu says a man that knows something knows he knows nothing at all, because that's what you're saying, because you got to keep studying. You never know it all.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. You know what I'm saying? And that's the key. You know, knock and doors should be open. See, if you knock, that brain gonna open up. You got to knock. The knocking is picking up a book.
Mm-hmm.
See what I'm saying? You know, seeking. Hey, you have to seek what you don't know, because that's saying that what you don't know won't hurt you. Hey, you better turn that around. What you don't know will kill you.
Yep.
Yes.
And then that's why they're out here flat blasting the people, and they marching. You marching, see, but you have to understand the marching is what they want. But when you start putting them writs in and putting them laws in and showing where they violated, hey, that's going to change to the point where it won't be no more marching. We're going to have to do something. The people know.
Yeah.
Where we're at. I think that's where it's at right now. That's right.
Yep, that's exactly where we are. And and that you made a lot of great points, and I really appreciate it. Let's see. We want to take some other callers, and we also have like 3 minutes left to the live to the internet feed. So if you are able to call into the telephone line, you want to call 347-945-5899. If you can't get in, wait until after 12:30. Download the archive, and you can hear the last hour at that time. Brother, I thank you so much for your call, and also for the enlightening information that you laid on our listeners and ourselves. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
All right.
Peace.
Peace, Mark.
It's long, brother. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right, our next caller 210-647. You are live on the air. Please state your appellation at Northwest Maxim. Caller 210-649. Islam? Alrighty, maybe that person. Alrighty. Caller 313-948. You're live on the air. Please state your appellation at Northwest Maxim.
Yes, this is Khalid Najib Bey out of Northwest of Maxim. Islam family.
Islam, Mark.
I wanted to mention the Pope when y'all said earlier you guys said that he came and collected something. Well, we don't have any money, but he came and collected energy. Actually, I don't know if not the common people actually know this, but actually that's the only thing that's really being transferred between our people. And actually because what's really happening is sorcery on our people. And our you know how you do it in EKG, how you can measure the brain waves on humans. It's actually what our mental state.
EEG.
Yeah, EEG. Our mental state is actually creating this false reality, this artificial reality. And another thing I wanted to mention as far as the Pope coming here, when he was talking about the immigrants, he already know that they're foreign. Most of our people just don't know the language. And actually, Noble Drew Ali is actually on the front line right now.
That's right.
And he actually, when he said he's going to make the European tell the truth, this is what's actually happening around the world, not just here in the North Gate, but it's actually happening all over the planet. But it's being censored and dumbed down over here through the private corporations on like CBS and all of these, Fox and all of these different corporations who've been actually shielding, because I have a friend who's reside on the other side of he reside in Al-Kibalan, which is what nation state it was. It's I think it's Nigeria. Yeah. And actually, what he was telling me that they show, like, they keep us separated from each other around the planet. What they would actually show over there, they would actually like focus on the negative, dealing with our people over here, and then how they would do over to us is make us focus on the negative against them. And that's one of the main reasons how and why we fail, because we've been trained. It's just like if you have one mother and she has twins at birth, and they were separated at birth. One was raised in Manchuria, and another was taken to Border Cane, and they speak two different tongues, and they have two different cultural customs, and they have two different dogmatic religions. Nothing changes the fact that they still come from the same mother. And this is how, and we've been trained to identify and classify ourselves through tongue and cultural customs and dogmatic religions, not even rooted in nature. And this is how the one of the main schismatic problems that's dealing with our people, not just here, but it's all over, because we separate ourselves because we think, oh yeah, I dance like this, or I believe in I'm Shiite, or I'm Baptist, or I'm Buddhist, and it's not about any of that. It's really actually time for all of our people to put that stuff aside. But you can tell that the vibration is raising real high, and I mean, Noble Drew Ali said, and I just look at his, I just follow his literature, you know, and I know it's a lot of people out here who just got off, and just as well as we've all been studying. A lot of people been studying. And some people get it a little misconstrued from time to time, but what I do when all else fails, I just run to Noble Drew Ali himself.
There you go.
Instead of going for anything else. And another thing about the U.S. company corporation, and about a lot of our people using these statutes and policies, like you were saying earlier, NIE, how they be using these statutes and policies, and they don't understand that it is a foreign corporation. Now, we all know, not everybody know, but most Moors and
Did he drop off? Are you there?
I think he dropped off.
He's still there. He's still there.
Something happened.
He just dropped.
Yeah, he was on the way. He was going in, though.
He was. But real quick, though, he started off talking about the payment times on the equinox. I got more seats right here on the special appearance. I just wanted to yield the floor to him real quick to go in on the specifics, the time, and the festivities that they call it by name. So I'm going to yield the mic to him.
Islam. I was referencing the concession of England to the Pope. Whoever the King of England is has to pay the Pope on 2 time periods. One is the springtime, which is the spring equinox, and the other is the Feast of St. Michael, which is the autumn equinox. The Pope gets paid on those 2 occasions by all of the Christians that are under so-called England. And these are former British colonies. So he's still getting paid on the same sequence. When you look up the concession of England to the Pope of 1213, that contract says it goes on forever.
No, thank you for adding that on. So that was basically like in perpetuity. It was a perpetual Christian agreement. But the time frame that he named or identified, 1213, that does seem kind of like consistent with the time frame of the Magna Carta, the Treaty of Verona, etc. So, like, all of those things are, like, historically in some way tied to Islam and Christianity, or Moors in European nations, I would say.
Right. Yeah, because a lot of people don't take in consideration the process of things. You know what I mean? You know, like we talk about the Constitution, but you know, like they didn't think far enough to recognize that, you know, after accepting their independence that was granted to them by the British Moors in England, we said, all right, you know, you can sail on the seas, put up your ensign, which is what the banner is, and we'll tell everybody not to molest you on the seas and let you pass through the ports. That's where a real passport is for. And just like the brother earlier said, they play with words. When you know what a passport is, it's for the ships, not for the physical body. You know, for you traveling amongst upon the land to and fro. You know, so now once they were able to do that, the Treaty 1787 ratified, finalized 1789. Then immediately 1789, the Constitution came out as the law of the land in which they were going to be, you know, traversing on or occupying on. And see, it's a process. So without the treaty, there would be no Constitution. So it's really supreme to the Constitution in that respect. But a lot of people don't think that far, and it's very, 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 very sad when, as we mentioned last week, that reading the states' quasi-national domiciles constitutions and you know, getting certified copies of that crap, you know, and I don't mean crap, of that has nothing to do with them or their salvation. So a lot of people don't look at the processes, like you say. They just don't. Yeah, and also, Eda mentioned earlier about history, because history and law, it can't be separated. And we just gave it a great example of that, you know, with the treaty, from the treaty to the, you know, to the law of the land, law of the sea, law of the land. And a lot of people talk about, now this is interesting. A lot of people will talk about, well, yeah, they're in the courtrooms acting like they're in admiralty. They're doing admiralty law in courtrooms. Well, first of all, the Constitution covers that all of it is at the supreme level. But the true Admiralty is the Treaty of Peace and Friendship, so you're covered there as well, and they're playing games, pretending that they're doing something, you know, as is being mentioned. They're tricking the people, you know, because the true deal on Admiralty was with the ship, with the boats, with them, coming and putting an ensign, a banner on, you know, and dealing with the Treaty of Peace and Friendship, not dealing with them pretending that they're a ship and a town called the township, and you know whatever else they may have done. You know, that's like scheming and playing house and stuff, and acting like you're on a theater stage. That's not the real.
Right. Indeed.
That's correct. Absolutely. No, but this is the thing, the prophet, everything that's happening, the prophet already foretold that it would happen. You know, he even let us know what would happen if we don't take our place and straighten this mess out. This is for us to straighten out, specifically the sisters. This is for us to straighten out. And, you know, I hate to say it, but because this can only be corrected, fixed by Mother, he said that, you know, the streets would run red with blood up to your knees. He also let us know that we would be forced to make change. Now, we all got to know that everybody has a mother. Your biological mother, everybody is involved with Mother in one way or another. She is either your biological mother, she is either your mate, or she is your daughter or your sister. That's Mother. So they know that since this is all about her, the prophet is talking to her. And when he said that if she doesn't wake up, because she's the one got to fix this, and she's the only one that can fix this, she doesn't wake up, a lot of not so great things would happen to her. And look at the prison. The prisons are either filled with her biological son or her mate.
Yes.
All right? It is either her biological son or her mate that is getting shot down in the street. And the streets are running red with their blood because she won't wake up. So, you know, we can get all bent out of shape. We can get mad. We can have hissy fits. Go back and read the prophet's word. He said all of this would happen if she doesn't wake up. So
that's right.
If you didn't know anything, you ought to know that she is falling humanity. We say this all the time. It's like you go in one ear, a lot of times out the other, because all these sons out there they're out there waking up their brother. I'll go out there and, my God, give this information to my homeboy. His homeboy goes to give it to his homeboy, and his homeboy goes to give it to his homeboy. All these homeboys is involved with a mother or has a biological mother, could possibly have a sister or a daughter, and they ain't saying jack shit to them. But they're the ones that's got to fix it.
Wow, that's kind of like tell me to read chapter 2, right? But yeah, that is interesting, and that's part of the conditioning too that we're in.
And then, right? Is this not the Pope work? See, they're demonstrating that even though they signed a name correction and proclamation paper, they're still mentally conditioned to that patriarchal mindset because they are still chasing after their fellow brother. When the one they got to wake up is her. She's the one that's got to wake up. So really, what subconsciously, what you're saying is you really think that the life of a child comes from the penis. Because why would you be waking him up? This is for the young and the yet unborn. Last I checked, she got the nation in her womb.
You know something?
She's the one that's got to wake up.
The youngborn are all of the eggs in her womb. You dead all right?
Yeah, she's the one that's got to wake up. So I'm just saying that because, you know, there's so many similarities to what's going on. You got this Pope running around here, and everybody is going and bowing down to this man's feet. Oh, wow, let me go bow down to the man's feet. What has changed in our culture, really? What has changed? Because the prophet said, go back to the mindset of your foremothers and your forefathers. That meant that when you went to the temple, mother was sitting up in there.
Mm-hmm.
And that's who you were bowing down to. Today, the temples are full of sons. You're bowing down to a son just like everybody was bowing down to the Pope when he came last week. Nothing has changed.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
We still under some form of mental conditioning because it's right there.
Mm-hmm,
right?
Mm-hmm.
It's right there. That's why I keep saying, read the prophet's work. Read the prophet's work. We have got to go back to the mindset of our foremothers and forefathers. He said we got to have a greater respect for womankind. It's about her waking up so she can fix this, because she's the one that messed it up. She's the one that created all this idol God worship.
Yeah. Yeah. You
Right?
know, I got new. Yeah, go ahead.
But see, you got to understand the dynamics of it, because she didn't create all this idol God worship for other Moors to worship her.
Yeah.
She created it for the modern Europeans to worship her.
And on the East, they still do. They still do. Like you were saying, they was bowing to the Pope and whatnot. But the funny part is in his sanctuary, he's praying to an image of a Moor.
That's right.
Right there.
I got the picture on the site. Go to the Moors responsibilities and abilities page, and you will see the picture of the Pope underneath the Moor's head, as well as them kneeling in front of the picture of what they refer to as the Black Madonna. They're both right there on that page.
A lot of these so-called old churches, because the Catholic Church is alleged to be an old church, and then you got what they call the Orthodox Church that's supposed to be older than the Catholic Church, you know, and a lot of the things that the Catholic Church picked up, they picked it up from the, quote, Orthodox Church, and then the Baptist Church and the Presbyterian and all of them others came out of the Catholic Church. But if you go back to some of these old, I would say old, what they call Orthodox churches, all of the saints and the image of Yahshua, which they call Jesus and Mary, in there, they're all melanated people. They're all melanated.
Indeed.
They call them icons. Some icons are all melanated. And I can tell you, when I was, I don't know, my spirit, years ago, my spirit just had me going through these different churches. I thought that I was going to these churches to be a member, but really, you know, it was all a lesson, because I went into all of these Baptist churches. You know, they have fashion show, hat show, shoe show, Sunday, you know, and they mixed in there. They have many concerts, but, you know, it's very, very, very confusing exactly what they're doing at a lot of these churches. You know, but I went through a lot of them. I went to a Greek church. All the icons were melanated. I went to a Romanian church. All of the icons were melanated. I ended up in a Russian church. All of the icons were melanated, and the bishop of one of the churches, one of those Russian churches, gave me icon of Mary and Yahshua. They were not only were they melanated, but the icon was alleged to have had been carried through to this church, going all the way back to the Byzantine time. Now, when they gave it to me, I didn't understand exactly what they were doing, but I get it now. It was returning to me part of my ancestral estate. It had come full circle.
Yeah.
You know, these Catholic churches, some of these Catholic churches you go into, the icons, they're washed out, and they're of these people with fur, and they have no color. They're pale skinned.
Mm-hmm.
Big contrast.
Just to add on, the history with the Catholics and Moors, like basically they took over some of our institutions and started calling them churches. That's a history that goes way back, even to the East. Whereas over in the East, you got to remember it was the Catholic monarchs going back to the priesthood that ordered, you know, over 1 million books to be burnt. Over 1 million Moorish books was burnt. Also on the subject of Catholic, in Arabic alone. I mean, you know, of course they kept copies for themselves. That's always speculative. But it is claimed, and it's been evidence that they have burnt, you know, certain artifacts and destroyed things via fire. But just to add on something else about the Catholics and the Christians, for Moors to go research, if you haven't heard of this particular book, it's a book called Dogs of God. Dogs, like pit bull dogs, K9 German Shepherd, Dogs of God. And on page 221 here, it says, Columbus was not the only exotic visitor to contribute to this magnificent vision. At about the same time, 2 friars from the convent of the Holy Sepulchre in Jerusalem arrived with a terrifying ultimatum from the Mameluke Sultan in Cairo, and this was the ultimatum. It says, unless the Catholic monarchs cease their assault on Islam and the Moorish Empire of Granada, the Sultan threatened to execute all the Christians in his empire, destroy all the convents and churches, and level the Holy Sepulchre itself. And that's from Dogs of God. So you can go back and see how, you know, the concept of Christianity or Catholicism interrelated always has something to do with, you know, the political powers or the contrast and the extent to Islam. Not that there wasn't tolerance, but that it was a diversity. Like how much, you know, that portion of what, you know, quote, religion or you know, those powers, how much influence they had in political affairs, and why they even had to have a, quote, separation of church and state. Because it's contrary to the First Amendment, among other things. So it's just unconstitutional in all reality. These are the powers, so-called powers, that are illusions, because even if you want to call it a force, science proves that force eventually gives out. It eventually gives out. So it has to come to a point of rest and build momentum or potential to move again. And that's just the truth. So with that being said, I just wanted to add on the fact diversity between Catholics and the churches, or the so-called churches, and old buildings of Moors that they took over. And I just give this for a prime example. It's an ancient building in so-called Philadelphia, Pennsylvania today on Broad Street. And on the front, in the face of the building, it has red doors and a 5-pointed interlaced star. All right? Like, we know that's an old Moorish building that was just taken over and called such and such church. So just like they took over the land in an aspect, not that they're the true possessors or have a valid claim, but that perception there in conjunction with the buildings that were on the land, those institutions, that they couldn't bring themselves to the nerve to destroy. They took over, and that's really what happened. So now you see all these fancy, like, old stone churches. These are old Moorish buildings, copper tops, etc. So, yeah, with that being said,
I know that in the just letting everybody know, in the next book that you're doing called Are You in Denial of Your Ancestry 3, you got a lot of those, like what Annie Eda was talking about, some of those people you have dug up. I mean, really, you have dug up some stuff, so I'll wait for that. But I got another thing that you just talked about, church and state being separated. Here's something for everyone to think about for a moment. Church and state is supposed to be separated, but as you say, they are the same. And when a person goes and seemingly gets married and gets a marriage license, and they go through the ceremony, clearly right there it says, the minister, whoever that might be that you utilize, says, with the power vested in me and the state of whatever. Right there, they're letting you know that it's not separated, and that you are making an alliance with a state. All states are quasi-national domiciles. There it is right there.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And most of them originated fleeing from persecution of, quote-unquote religious freedom in the extent. It had a big influence on why they fled. They act like they came to explore. No, they were getting expelled. And this is the part that they, don't really mention. Like, all right, yeah, you came over and colonized. That's because you fled. Just like, there were some, Moors or lineal descendants of Moors who had to leave Syria like last month or whatnot. All right? Like, yeah, we're all family. Not to say that the European is the same breed or stock, but the concept of they had to leave for certain reasons. It wasn't like they just chose to get up one day and go. Like, yeah, they made that choice, but it was under coercion, pressure. You know what I'm saying? And that's the key concept of why they really, really did come over here, and how, the British, the Moors of Great Britain and North America were already in relation, and was consistently traveling across the Great Atlantis to freely travel and visit and explore, the land, way prior to them ever grabbing the notion to do such. So, and I yield the floor, fam.
All right, let's take our next caller. Caller 618-918. You are live on the air. Please state your affiliation at Northwest Maxim.
How y'all doing? Islam to everyone.
Great.
I'm Falmi El Bay from the Illinois Republic, and I would just like to thank the Sheikhs for bringing up the point about the Moorish women, because I am at fault, because everyone I try to reach be males, and I never thought that I should try to reach a female, even though my mom is female. And I just want to say I'm sorry for that. And from now on, I'm going to make it my job to reach every female that I can.
Wow, brother.
All right. That's what I'm talking about.
And listen, read chapter 2 of the Circle 7 Quran, where you will find that duty that you're talking about. You'll find that explanation in chapter 2, and we refer to you as a chapter 2 son. So if you ever hear us say, or maybe others say, chapter 2 son, or he's a chapter 2 son, that means that he's the son that brings the light, because he's been given the light by his own mother, and he brings it. All right?
Yes, ma'am. And I also would like to state, can someone elaborate for me? Someone told me that the original Constitution, they replaced the word born with created. Can anyone elaborate on that? Just like they did with of.
I'm not sure, but
yeah.
Go ahead. My fault, Mark. Go right ahead.
Well, you can elaborate on it, but like you got. Are you sure you're not confusing the organic Constitution? You're saying in the organic Constitution that it said born, right?
Yeah.
And you're saying that they replaced it with created. But I don't know where that would be at, because we're all born. You understand? Like who are they talking about? In other words, in the Bible, in the I guess I shouldn't say in the Bible, in the Bibliothek, when they talk of Genesis 1, they're talking about those who are manifested in the flesh. And the reason why our holy day is Friday is because if you read the 101s, it's because man was formed in the flesh. And formed in the flesh, that's in your mother's womb, and departed from the flesh, and that's departing from your mother's womb. And Friday is Venus, the day of Venus, which is representative of the mother. You see, so now when you go to Genesis 2 in the Bible, they're not even talking about that. They are talking about Adam and Eve and his descendants, of which was created, just like in the Declaration of Independence. You know what I'm saying? So we're divine beings. So I just want to throw that in there to see, because a lot of times we confuse and cross-reference and get stuff confused. It does not apply. So I don't know, Miss, did you want to add something to that? Miss?
Islam, peace and love.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's well said. I mean, that's good. The brethren have revelation to get on the mission, and I think that you said it well enough,
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, when you look at it, born, if you know what's going on, then born and created really is correct, because she made you and then she gave birth to you. So, but if you know the science of that, then it's not really, it's not difficult to express that if you find the need. Now, I'm going to say this. A lot of times there is no need to express that. And all the time, there is no need to educate people who are supposed to know the law. Never. There is never a time, and if You got people who go into these meeting rooms that these corporations have, rented, and they're calling it a courtroom. And they will go in there and they will say something like, well, who are you? They go into a big educational process of their who the Moors are and all of this other stuff. It's not your job to educate people in that type of a setting on nationality, because really the order of the day is the law. And you put your nationality on the table. The only other discussion that ought to be happening is what law applies to me that, as a Moor, that you can even adjudicate on. And before we even get into that discussion, put on the table that you are lawful government. Really, this is, to me, in my opinion, this is why we have to study, because they will come at people with all sorts of things, and they have been studying us for so long, and they don't even be trying to hide it. Oh no, we did a study on so and so. They tell you we did a study on so and so. Well, who is that? You? Everything. They have been studying us for a very long time. 9 times out of 10, they already know how we're going to react if they put certain situations in place. All right? So what we got to do is stop falling for those traps, and we got to know that, okay, if any of these modern Europeans come and tell you, or us, I should say, in any way, shape, or form, that they are engaging in government, they got to put it on the table where who delegated them that? Because the last I checked, there's case law that says that they're incompetent to receive judicial authority. So let me see your credentials. And we really, it's going to be a scary time, because we all have been mentally conditioned to, we like the scarecrow. Soon as they even send us a letter in the mail, our knees start shaking, and we walking and shaking all from now until we get in front of these people like they are the Wizard of Oz.
They are.
And they're not. And we've got to break that mental chain that has us performing in this manner. We've got to break it, because we got to know that they are not government, which means they are not talking law. And we don't need, and if they're not talking law, we don't need to know what they are talking.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. If it ain't law, it don't matter.
Right.
If it ain't got that swing, then it don't mean a thing.
I told the judge the same.
I'm sorry, what?
Brother, what you say?
I was gonna say, I went to court like June 25th, and I told the judge the same thing, and he walked up out the courtroom.
Did they come back in? Did they come back in?
No, he just left out.
All right, well.
He left out, and another judge came back in for the other cases.
Oh, they playing games. They playing games.
No, he said
that game.
The other judge came back in for the other case, not for him, though.
Yeah.
Oh, all right, because they good for playing games now. They're very good
I already
for
know
playing
that.
games. And they're always trying to test us to see if we know what we're talking about. Now, I'm not saying that I agree. They're not the ones to test us at all. But if we do find ourselves in a situation where we are tested, we need to be absolutely competent. Absolutely. And that means less is more. Because one of the things that they will do with sons, especially, is they know that if they can get you, not you specifically, but most sons, if they can get sons talking, they already know. 9 times out of 10, you're going to talk yourself right into their jurisdiction, and they'll be sitting there just like the black widow spider, ready to drop down beside you.
Yes, ma'am. I be quiet. I only say what I got to say, and I be quiet.
That's right.
And then I just let them do what they got to do. But it's funny because, like, I've been searching for this judge oath of office for 3 months now, and I still haven't found it. You know, I got everyone else oath of office.
Did you look for that? Did you look for that?
First, I went to the county recorder, and then they told me to contact the Secretary of State and
Okay, stop right there. Stop right there. All right, now look, they got you running around. How much running around are they doing?
None.
All right, so this is how you do this. See, y'all got to learn to play this game and put some good strategy in place. You send a writ. It's on the Ivory Bay Publications website. It's called Affirmative Jurisdiction Quo Warranto.
Yes, I put them in, ma'am.
I'm sorry, what?
I say, yes, ma'am, I put them in.
Look, did you read that document?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So that if you sent that document, you already asked for everybody's oath.
In other words, instead of them having you running around to get it, you request it from them and make them have to produce it. And then there's the case law that said that they don't produce it, it does mean they do not have it.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Why are you running around? That's what we got a postal service for. Let them run around. All right? And the postal service, if you send it via mail, you know, you can subpoena and certified at that, or, you know, however you want to do, certified or registered. You send that out, you now have a certified document from the postmaster, and if necessary, you can subpoena them and testify that, yep, this document was sent certified mail requesting lawful delegation of authority. Because sometimes they will say, oh, well, we didn't receive it. Now, some people will get into a huff and a puff. Yes, you did receive it because I sent it and I got the signature card here and you better produce it and all of it. Just run their mouth right into the ground. What you need to just say is, really? You didn't receive it? We're going to have to come back and meet on another day. I'm going to have to subpoena the postmaster to come up in here and testify to where that document went, because I sent it under seal by the postmaster, and if you saying you didn't receive it, there's some mail tampering going on, and that's a federal offense.
Yes, ma'am.
Especially since I have this signature card. Especially since I got this signature card here saying that somebody here in your office received it. So they're taking people's mail that's not addressed to them. That's a federal offense. We're going to have to get the postmaster in here. Watch how fast things change. I did that before. They was like, oh, well, we didn't receive it. I said, oh, well, let me contact the postmaster. No, just make copies and we'll set a new date and come back and talk about it. All right.
Yes, ma'am. Also, I want to say it's 3 cents to mail non-domestic mail. I do it all the time.
Actually, it's not supposed to cost anything if you're sending it to a fiction. However, this is all about strategy, and so you got to make sure, you got to decide how strong you want your strategy to be. Do you want to send it free and have no signature or proof of delivery?
No, I'm talking about when I write to regular people, ma'am.
Oh, well, I'm just saying. You don't want to say that on the air, baby. You don't want to say that on the air without clarifying that, because then you'll have a whole bunch of people sending 3 cents mail to these, courts, and they'll be just
no proof
new
of
process.
Service.
Right.
No proof of service. Because it's all about proof of service. It's definitely about proof of service. Like they could say, yeah, we sent you a notice to appear on such and such a date, and all you got to do is ask, do you have proof of service?
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, can you produce the proof that I was served? In an impartial venue. You can't sit there and argue that with them because, they underhanded. But in the impartial venue, is, do you have proof of service? Produce that. Now, that's what she's saying as far as the return receipt signature. That's proof of service that this party has been served. That's a part of due process of law, whether, someone is guilty or innocent or whatnot. It's still everybody's entitled to due process of law. And proof of service is a key attribute of that. So either way, it's a constitutional violation. If there isn't proof of service, like a prosecutor can, I don't know if it's everywhere, but like most court notices now, they got the red stamp that say Pitney Bowes on it or something of that nature.
Mail fraud.
Right. And, in all reality, there's no proof of service. So that's the whole thing. They got to prove that. My fault. With that, I yield the floor, fam.
All right. I'm going to get off. I want to get someone else time to talk. But I thank you all, and I especially thank the Sheikies for bringing up the point about the females. And like I say, from now on, I'm going to do my best to uplift the females.
All right, but one more thing.
Yes.
It's chic.
Chic.
It's chic. There's
chic.
only chic. There's no such thing as a chicest.
I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry.
No. That's all right. Just like you heard of Ruth the Moabite, right?
Yes, ma'am.
But they will call a sister today a Moabitess.
That was different. Yeah, that was all kind of part of
I'm just saying, I'm just letting you know, there's no such thing as a Sheikess, a Moabitess, a heiress. There's no such thing as those things. They just come up with those empty words, titles, whatever you want to call it, but they don't even exist.
All right, thank you, Sheik.
I want to know what seeing your corporate territory. I know you're from Northwest and and I'm only asking because you have a little bit of a southern drawl.
Of an accent?
Yeah. Are you down?
Draw?
Oh, me?
Huh?
I'm originally from the Missouri territory, but I'm in Illinois, Centralia right now. Centralia territory.
Okay, brother.
All right, y'all enjoy y'all day in Islam. And what up, Cujo?
Oh, he might have went off at a
Yeah. I think he might be listening because I don't see that he dropped yet. But
he
definitely probably fell asleep.
No, he
didn't hang up.
No, he didn't hang up. He had texted and said he had to get off.
Yeah, he did, but he didn't hang up yet. So he probably fell asleep listening. That's all right. All right, well, thank you so much for your call.
Oh, you're welcome, man. Islam to everyone.
Islam to you.
Peace,
brother.
All right, this is the last caller. Caller 215-257. You're live on the air. Please state your appellation and Northwest Mexican.
It's non-family. I am Cynthia Eel, calling from Philadelphia, near Philadelphia territory. Yes.
All right.
Yes, I have a situation. I received an invitation to, appear at a meeting house regarding where I currently domicile. And when I got the invitation, I sent the quo warranto, averment of jurisdiction. And they had things scheduled so tightly that I had to really, really work fast. So let's say I had maybe less than 7 days to respond to all of this. So I sent the writ 2 ways. I sent it priority mail so that it would get there in 1 to 2 days. And then I also sent it return receipt requested. So I had proof, postal proof, that both mailings were received. And I sent it to the magistrate. So the hearing was supposed to be the 9th. So I requested the information by the 8th. And I didn't get it. I didn't get a response. So when I went to the hearing, I took an affidavit with me, notice of default, and I wanted to have the case moved to a competent court, in a competent jurisdiction. So when I got there, and thankfully another sister went with me in support, I again challenged jurisdiction. And the magistrate was actually kind of stunned. And she was like, well, I never got this before. And I told her that I could not advance in the proceedings because jurisdiction has not been established. And she just like totally ignored that. And she went on and was talking to the management people and the attorney for the fiction, because when you look at the plaintiff and the defendant, the plaintiff is a fiction, is the management company, which is a corporation. So, and I looked at the invitation and I saw who actually signed, the statement, to the best of their ability, all the information was true, blah, blah, blah. And it was the assistant property manager. And actually, she is in, what do they call it, contempt of court, because it is a contempt of court to file a suit using a fictitious plaintiff. And
all right, girl.
Knowing that a corporation is what it is by nature and by law, corporations cannot suffer injury. So they didn't even have an injured party. And in that case, it should have been dismissed. And she just kept running roughshod over me, and I just kept objecting. And they did, I could see that they both, it was 3 of them, the magistrate, the attorney for the plaintiff, and the assistant property manager. And they all just looked completely stunned, and then they had a little bit of concern on their faces. But my thinking is that they're all part of a network, that they're all connected in some way, and their intention was to give them the judgment anyway. It didn't matter what I said. And but I could tell that the magistrate was really, really concerned because of the things that I was saying. And I didn't want to say too much because I didn't want to get into subject matter. And I noticed that she kept asking me at the end, what is your name? What is your name? And I already told her I don't have a name. I have a title. But she kept saying, what is your name, name? And I knew that was a trick because, if you say my name is blah, 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 then you submit to their you're in their jurisdiction. So I was very, very cognizant of that. So she gave them the judgment anyway, gave the judgment to the fiction anyway. And she said it then, and it also came in the mail. And then it said I had 10 days to appeal it. Okay, the notice said I had 10 days to appeal it. So I'm wondering if I did the wrong thing by sending in the notice to appeal.
No, you was biding yourself time. You mean, in other words, I mean, you might not call it an appeal; they call it an appeal. But that if they say you have 10 days to appeal, then it's not over yet in that respect. So you know, it might be best for you to put something in that they have to look at.
Well, what I did was there's a form that you fill out stating that you want to appeal, and then they say after that they give you 20 days to prepare your statement.
Yeah, I thought it was 20 days. Yeah.
Yeah, but this is what happened. I sent in the appeal. Then it said within 10 days of sending in the appeal, then you have to send the court proof of service. All right. Yes, that you did notify the magistrate and the plaintiff that your intention to appeal. So I did that, and like I said, everything was tight. I just felt like everything was accelerated for some reason. Then I get a response.
They're accelerating stuff now to try to hinder those who are from writing. They're trying not to give you time to, respond. That's why they do it.
Okay. So I got a response from the prothonotary, and I had everything intact in the mailing. And she said in her cover letter that they did receive, the proof of service. This is what she was responding to. And she said that it is date stamped. However, it may not be processed because there was an error in the case number. Now, I lifted the docket number right off of the notices. It was always the same number. And I remember that happened to me before when I was challenging a ticket that they gave me because I didn't have the correct inspection stickers on my car and my conveyance. And when I went through that appeal process, that's how they got rid of me, by saying, oh, you didn't have the right case number. So I know that's the trick. That's the trick. So I responded back and I said, listen, that's the only case number that was presented to identify this case. But before I knew it, when I got home, plastered on my door was an eviction notice. And I have to be out by Tuesday, October 6th. So I don't know how things fell apart, what happened that they fell apart where they did. But
conspiracy. They conspired against you in that respect. And like you said, they said that they couldn't hear it because, or couldn't go through because of a case number.
Mm-hmm.
So, I would make them...
That's theft by deception and theft by extortion.
Yeah.
That's theft by deception and extortion.
All right.
Because that's a failure to recognize your lawful and legal claim. That's why it's theft by extortion.
Mm-hmm.
And then